Australia has one of the world's most important mining industries. It is a major exporter of coal, iron ore, gold, and copper, and is self-sufficient in all minerals except petroleum. Since the first discoveries of coal in 1798, mineral production has increased every year over the decades, and by 1992 it had doubled.
Have you ever imagined a world without light? Just think about how much we rely on man-made light sources in our daily lives. Without engineers, we wouldn't be able to live the way we do. There would be no streetlights, no TVs, no computer screens, and no house lights. Engineers design and build all of these things.
Teenage girls continue to outperform boys in English, while the gender gap in achievement in math and science has almost disappeared. Figures show that last year, 80% of 14-year-old girls reached at least the expected level 5 in English, compared with 65% of boys. However, in math, girls were only 1% ahead of boys, and in science, the difference was just 2%.
According to recent research, sunshine and warm weather have a positive effect on our moods. The British Journal of Psychology published a report claiming that anxiety levels decrease as temperatures rise, while increased exposure to sunshine makes people think more positively about their lives.
Training to become an actor is an intensive process that requires curiosity, courage, and commitment. You'll learn how to prepare for rehearsals, how to rehearse effectively, and how to use independent and proactive methods to produce your best possible work for both stage and screen.
The preparation of an abstract is an intellectual effort that requires a solid understanding of the subject in order to highlight the key points of an author's argument. It also demands specific skills and experience. Consequently, a considerable amount of qualified manpower that could otherwise be used more effectively must be devoted to the task of organizing and facilitating access to information.
Shrimp farmers once kept animals in nursery ponds for 30 to 60 days, but now they aim to transfer them to grow-out ponds in less than 30 days. This change reduces stress on the animals and significantly increases their survival rates in the grow-out ponds. Many farms that had previously abandoned nursery ponds have returned to using them, and the results have been surprisingly positive. Most of these farms are now using the old, uncovered, earthen nursery ponds.
Business school admissions officers say the new effort to attract younger students is partly due to the realization that they had unintentionally limited their applicant pool by requiring several years of work experience. Talented students who might otherwise have chosen business school instead opted for law or public policy degrees, as they were discouraged by the expectation of prior professional experience.
Imagine living your whole life as the only family on your street. Then, one morning, you open the front door and find houses all around you. You see neighbors tending their gardens and children walking to school. Where did all these people come from? What if the answer turned out to be that they had always been there, you just hadn't noticed them before?
The physical location of a restaurant within a city's competitive landscape has long been recognized as a major factor in determining its success or failure. Once restaurants are established in such environments, there is little they can do to change their location. Instead, they focus on improving customer access to their premises. Restaurateurs often do this by engaging in disputes with local authorities over car parking.
A unique feature of online shopping environments is that they allow vendors to create retail interfaces with highly interactive elements. One particularly desirable form of interactivity, from a consumer perspective, is the use of sophisticated tools that assist shoppers in making purchase decisions by customizing the electronic shopping environment to their individual preferences.
It may seem that language appeared out of nowhere, since no other species has anything resembling human language. However, many animals do possess basic systems for perceiving and producing sounds that allow them to communicate. These systems may have existed before the emergence of human language.
While the Republican field is crowded with male candidates, some of the sharpest critics of Clinton have come from women. Democrats successfully campaigned on an alleged war on women in 2012 but struggled with the same approach in 2014. With Hillary Clinton likely to be the Democratic nominee, winning the support of women voters will be a central focus of the 2016 campaign.
The climate for doing business improved in Egypt more than in any other country last year, according to a global study that highlighted a wave of company-oriented reforms across the Middle East. The World Bank rankings, which assess business regulations, also showed that the pace of business reforms in Eastern Europe was surpassing that of East Asia.
Hundreds of millions of Americans eat fast food every day without giving it much thought, unaware of the subtle, and sometimes not so subtle, consequences of their choices. They simply grab their tray from the counter, find a table, take a seat, unwrap the paper, and dig in. The entire experience is fleeting and quickly forgotten.
Long isolated from Western Europe, Russia developed without participating in shared movements such as the Reformation. Russians took pride in their distinct culture and placed little value on foreign ideals. As a result, Russia remains the most unusual member of the European family, if it can be considered part of it at all. This question continues to be hotly debated, especially among Russians themselves.
In 2005, donor countries agreed on an accord to harmonize their practices. Since then, aid officials have complained that little has changed on the ground. Conferences of donors in developing countries are still often dominated by a small group of Northern European governments, with the United States frequently absent.
Unions can limit an employer's control over many workplace issues. There have been cases where workers engaged in sexual or racial harassment but were protected by their unions and allowed to keep their jobs. Additionally, poor performing and high performing workers often receive the same pay and raises, which can reduce incentives for employees to work harder than necessary.
One of the unidentified objects in the study is located just outside Centaurus A, NGC 5128, an elliptical galaxy about 12 million light-years from Earth. The other is situated in a globular cluster of stars just outside NGC 4636, another elliptical galaxy approximately 47 million light-years away in the constellation Virgo.
The situation is similar to a pregnant woman carrying twin babies. Avi Loeb of the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics is proposing this idea in a paper that has been accepted for publication in the Astrophysical Journal Letters.